Have you ever noticed how much of your mental energy is spent thinking about other people? What they said, what they meant, what they think of you. It's subtle sometimes, so automatic that you don't even realize it. A passing glance, a comment, an ignore message, and suddenly you're spiraling, trying to decode a person's intention like your peace depends on it. But the real question is, why? Why do we invest so much time and emotion trying to live in someone else's mind? And how do we stop? How do we reclaim that energy and focus it where it actually belongs, within? The journey begins with awareness. We live in a world that teaches us to externalize everything. Our worth is measured by likes, compliments, comparisons. From early childhood, we're taught, behave well, get praised. Make people happy, get accepted. It's no wonder we grow up anxiously tuned to how we're perceived. But this creates a subtle prison. You start to perform, not live. You begin to shrink your voice, question your instincts, edit your emotions. Not because they're wrong, but because you fear disapproval. This is the tragedy of the modern self. We're more connected than ever, and yet more disconnected from ourselves. Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." Why terrifying? Because to accept yourself is to confront your truth without the filters of others' expectations. And that's not easy, but it's necessary, because every time you prioritize what others think over what you feel, you lose a little piece of yourself, and those pieces matter. So how do we break this habit? First, you need to understand what lies beneath it. Psychologically, the obsession with others is often a mask for fear of rejection, of not being enough, of abandonment. So we overanalyze, overgive, overadapt. But here's the paradox. The more you try to control how others see you, the more disconnected you become from who you really are. Freedom begins with this realization. You can't control people's minds. You can't control their stories about you. You can't make everyone like you, or understand you, or treat you fairly. And that's okay, because your peace doesn't depend on their approval. It depends on your alignment. Imagine how much lighter life would be if you stopped needing to be understood by everyone. If you stopped editing yourself to be digestible. If you stopped apologizing for your truth. That's the power of self-focus. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." And living, truly living, means turning your gaze inward, not in selfishness, not in arrogance, but in honesty. You ask yourself, what do I think? What do I need? What do I believe? And then you start living from there. In psychology, this is called individuation, the process of becoming your most authentic self, free from projections and expectations of others. It's not instant, it's not easy, but it's the most liberating path you can walk. One of the reasons we stay trapped in people-pleasing is because it gives us a false sense of safety. If everyone likes me, I won't be abandoned. If I never make waves, I won't be rejected. But this kind of safety is not real. It's a performance that leaves you empty, exhausted, and invisible, even to yourself. So what does it look like to focus on yourself? It looks like saying no without guilt. It looks like making time for silence, not because it's productive, but because it's sacred. It looks like creating without needing validation. It looks like allowing others to misunderstand you and still remaining at peace. Alan once said, "You are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago." That's the kind of freedom you deserve. Not chained to your past, not bound by others' opinions, but evolving with clarity, with presence, with truth. And yet we resist, because it's easier to obsess over someone else than to sit with ourselves. It's easy to analyze a relationship than to feel our own wounds. It's easier to blame others than to face our own patterns. But here's the shift. Every time you choose to focus inward, you grow, you heal, you take your power back. You stop saying, "They did this to me," and you start asking, "Why did I allow it? What part of me needed that? What do I want to build instead?" This is emotional responsibility, and it's the foundation of true peace. Let's talk about solitude. Not loneliness, but intentional solitude. It's in those quiet spaces that you meet yourself. No distractions, no performances, no roles to play. And it might be uncomfortable at first, because you'll hear the noise you've been avoiding. But sit with it, breathe through it, because beneath that noise is your real voice, the one that's been waiting, patiently, quietly, for you to come home. You might lose people when you start focusing on yourself. People who benefited from your self-abandonment won't clap for your boundaries. That's okay. Let them go. What you'll gain in return is far greater. Self-respect, clarity, inner stability. Viktor Frankl wrote, "When a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. Focusing on others is often just another distraction. But when you find meaning within, you stop needing the world to mirror your worth. This journey is not linear. You'll fall back into old patterns. You'll care too much. You'll overthink. That's human. But each time, come back to yourself. Ask, what part of me is seeking attention, love, approval? And how can I give that to myself instead? Because the real work is internal. And once you do that work, everything changes. You speak with more confidence. You move with more clarity. You attract people who see you, not the mask you wore. And perhaps most importantly, you finally feel free, not because others love you, but because you do. So if you spent too long living for others, let this be your turning point. Start small. Start now. Choose presence. Choose depth. Choose honesty. And watch as your world, your inner world, transforms. Because at the end of the day, peace doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being aligned. And you deserve that.